Hello everyone and welcome to Shauna Stitches, episode number 39. That's Cody. I'm Shauna. And it is November the 11th, 2018. It's Sunday. And I'm actually podcasting. I haven't podcasted in so long because I really haven't had much to show. Before I get into what I am going to show you, let me just say thank you to... Cody's very interested in something on the table. Thank you to returning viewers and thank you very much to new viewers. I hope you enjoy. Click the like and subscribe buttons if you want to be notified every time I do record. And since it isn't on a regular basis, that's probably a really good thing to do. So let me just jump right into FOs. Can you see? I finished my texture time. I'm sitting on the floor, but I'm going to try and kneel up so you can see a little bit better. It is gigantic, and I'll get into the pattern a little bit more, but I did opt for the largest version, which is this. So I will put in some pictures of what it looks like on in different ways, because I don't think I'm going to be able to show you this that great on the video. But here you go. This section here was clue 1, and it is called brioche, but it's like syncopated brioche, so the front and the back, I guess they wouldn't look the same in brioche anyway, but they look different. Clue 2 are these pink waves over here that are separated by Latvian braids, which I had never done before. Totally not hard. Pain in the ass, but not hard. Followed by clue 3, which has these yarn overs. And clue 4 is called kitty paws or something like that, because it has these yarn overs that look like multi-toed kitty paws, like way too many toes. And then clue 5 is the border that goes all the way around the bottom. The bright pink that you see here, which I just happen to have next to me, is Blue Moon Fiber Arts. It's silk mow. So it's a silk mohair blend. Super soft. This thing came in a gigantic 235 gram skein. I think this is about 50 grams right here. And, oh, the color? Psycho Barbie. Best color name ever. But yeah, it was my absolute first time ever using mohair in anything. It's really not hard to work with. And I did have to hold it two strands together, so I don't know if that made it easier or harder, but anyway, you can wear it all kinds of ways. It's really actually kind of cool to wear it like this, because the way these waves are, it really like holds it in place, not to mention how long this is. Whether you can see, I'm standing up all the way, and it goes down almost to my knees, and I'm 5'10". So there's all that weight to hold it in place too, but just the curve of this is just really awesome. The border was a pain to knit, because each row took like, I don't know, each row took about a half hour. So each section was, oh gosh, I can't count. I don't know, a lot of hours. And then there's this really cool bind off, which is strange, but you actually fold down the last gray portion and bind it off on the back, so it creates like this folded hem. I was a little worried that this was going to be too small, but it blocked out really nice. And I did use the suggested needle size. I did not swatch because I decided to do this literally the day before the first clue came out. Okay, sit. Thank you. Yeah, it was very much an impulse. I just got caught up in the excitement that everyone had for the fact it was coming out, and this is my first Stephen West project ever. If you remember, I did start the Marled Mania leggings, but I did not finish those. So This is a total of 2,109 yards of yarn, which makes this the largest project I have ever knit. So I think that's pretty cool. It's actually very easy to style and wear, I think. And I think it looks pretty good. So I told you what the mohair was. The dark gray black that you see there is Long Dog yarn in the color Dark Dimension. This is gonna be hard to show. Let's see. The darker of the two teals that you see there, the ones that are not the raised but the knit stitches, that is the Creative Obsession Carrie in her Surf's Up colorway, and it's sparkly. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see that. It doesn't look like it, but there is sparkle in there. The raised ridges here are a green color by Stitchin' Octopus, who was a new to me dyer, and it's called Mermaid Slumber Party. And let's see, there's one more green color. Where is that? Maybe it's only in here. There's a lighter green. Nope, it's this color. I'm losing track. There's too many colors. This one here is also by Stitchin' Octopus, and it is a no name because it got sent to me as Mermaid Slumber Party, which wasn't correct. And she said it got mislabeled and let me keep it. So anyway, it goes really well in this. I am super proud of myself because Cody, sorry, you're going to see more dog than knitting in this podcast apparently. Sit. Thank you. Lay down. All the yarns out. Okay, I'm going to get him out of this room. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. All the yarns for this came out of my stash except for the mohair because I didn't have any mohair. And I'm going to go out of order for this because, you know, why would I go in order? So speaking of the mohair, I'm so excited. I have enough left. I think it's up my nose too. I have enough of this left. I have a whole other like cake twice this size that I'm going to do the Birds of a Feather shawl. And I'm going to pair it with this. So this is just Ice Yarns Magic, or this isn't Magic Sock, this is Mini Sock, I think it is, because these are just 50-gram balls. I do believe this will knit up as a variegated. So yeah, I think that will look okay. And I will get into why that is my pick in a little bit. But I have one more finished object. These here, yes, there are two of them, are Glenn's Coffee Talk socks. This is the pattern by Tracy of the Grocery Girls. And it is knit up in Earth Yarns, color 2002, which does not have a name. So, also, I'm always afraid on Glen socks that I'm going to run out of the main yarn, which I shouldn't have been worried about that on these because I had plenty left over. But I did use contrasting heels, cuffs, and toes. You'll notice they're all different because I used 5-gram minis that I'd gotten from different sock yarn swappers. So that being said, none of them actually match. Like this one has a little bit of green tint to it. So those two blacks are different. The two reds of the heels are different. And the two yellows are different, but close enough. So you know what that tells you? I have way too many minis if I can find basically matching pairs. But I thought that was a really nice way to use up some minis that I haven't been using in any other project. So just looking at this here on the screen, it looks so different to me than it does in person. I actually really love this zigzaggy pooling texture that's on here. Because I really don't like this color. Glenn bought this at a yarn store opening near us and gifted it to me, and so I immediately cast it on for him because I didn't want it sitting in my stash and I didn't want it for me. I knew that. So it actually has more depth to the color than you see from afar. I know when I saw it in the cake, I only saw maroon, black, and yellow. But truly, there is like the maroon kind of fades to like a soft pink, and the brown and the maroon kind of merge together to create this kind of brownish coppery kind of color, which you can kind of see in these different slip stitches here, which I love that detail. This was a super memorizable 4-row repeat, which I really liked. The only thing I would say that I didn't like is I hate starting around with pearls. I don't know why, the transition, I think this is actually my start of the round there, but by transition it just looks kind of sloppy. The last knit stitch ends up being a little bit big, and it's not terrible, they're totally wearable, but I just would prefer not to. I really did like the toe that she did. Again, though, I didn't love purling the entire top side of the toe, but I think it creates a really cool texture that I do like. So, yeah. Not much else to say about these. I'm going to make Glenn wait for these until his birthday, which is the end of this month. Oh, one thing I did do, he always complains that the instep is too tight, and I have tried just about every heel, and pretty much no matter what I do, he says it's tight right here. So I did a fish lips kiss heel, and I added 6 stitches. So I knit these cuff down, so I added 6 stitches. So on the, I believe it was the last row of the color, I increased on the first stitch, the 7th stitch. I can't keep count. I can't do math. Anyways, this is a 72 stitch sock. Half of 72 is 36. 6 divided into 36 is 6, so it goes in there evenly. So the first stitch, and do you get what I'm saying? Anyways, hopefully that makes sense. So then I just decrease that out when I finish the heel. So he hasn't worn these more than just trying them on. He said that they fit good and that they were less tight right here. So I don't know, maybe 6 stitches wasn't quite enough. But one thing I did do that I think I will do differently next time is I just did the fish lips kiss heel as it says. And I'm not going to go into great detail about that simply because it's a paid for pattern. But the short of it is you keep doing the certain short rows until you have a third on each side and a third in the middle of your stitches. So I did that, but this would be for like an 82 stitch sock. So it makes the base of the heel very wide. And I think that really hasn't been his complaint. So I think I would have done more rounds, gone down to the middle section being the same size I normally do for a 72 stitch sock, which would create more depth, but not width in the heel, if that makes sense. So I think that's what I'll do next time. One day I'm going to figure it out, I swear. Okay, one last finished object. And this was the fastest finished object ever. It is a cable hat. That's actually what the pattern's called. And I'm blanking on the name of the designer. But you can find it in my project pages on Ravelry. I'm Shauna Stitches there also. And this is in the youth size or child size. I forget what they call it, but it's the middle size. And I initially cast on the adult size, but it seemed really big for the person I made it for. This is a Christmas gift. It is knit out of Patton's Classic Wool Worsted. So just something I got from Joann's. Nothing crazy. I'm going to try and put it on. I'm going to hope it doesn't mess up my hair too bad. But this has been washed and blocked. I finished this in, well, it would have been a day. So the other night I did the ribbing, which was not very many rows. It's a free pattern, by the way, so it's 8 rows. And then the next day I did this and I finished it by about noon or 1 p.m. Super memorizable, super easy. If you've never done cables, this is a super easy cable pattern. I'd say the hardest part probably is actually this, which I don't think is hard at all. I don't know what it's called, but it's where you knit into the second stitch on your left hand needle, keep it on the needle, and then knit into the first stitch. So it's kind of a cable,
but you're not using a cable needle to do it. If you've never done that before, I could see how that could be a little confusing. So anyway, here we go. So as you can see, even though this is child size, and I do have a tiny head, but it fits me. The only thing I would change is that you can see my ear right here. I would want it to be longer to cover my ears because, you know, you're out in the cold, whatever, but hopefully this will fit the recipient and cover their ears, but I don't know. Okay, what else? I guess we're going to go into works in progress now because I'm trying to keep somewhat order. You will maybe remember this if you watched either my last episode or the one before that, but I cast on a tubular cowl just to be my quote-unquote cinema knitting. Well, this is how far I am, and I have not been to the cinema once. So this has just been my I'm stressed out knitting, my I don't want to think about it knitting, my take it with me knitting. So I've knit on this some in the car, hospital waiting rooms, I mean, you name it, this is what I've been working on. I just don't tend to like vanilla socks. Plus then there's the whole worrying about the heel or the toe or whatever, and this is just great because there's no worrying about that whatsoever. I do like the way this is knitting up. It's very soft, very bright. This is how much I have left of the first ball. I haven't weighed it, but I think I'm probably half, I would say. And this yarn is Comfort Sock, Barocco Comfort Sock. So it is a non-wool sock yarn. And the reason I'm knitting it into a cowl is because I'm never going to make socks out of it. And I actually really like the way this looks. I don't know how warm it's going to be, but it's very soft. It doesn't feel, icky like some acrylics might. So anyway, I'm really excited about that. This is actually made out of 50% nylon and 50% acrylic. So I don't remember the color name of this, but it's on my project page. This will be the second half of the cowl, and this is color 1827. Not very fun. It's just a number. So the gist of this is it's very much, at least what I gather, the tail is a little time cowl is like, so it's going to be half and half. It's going to be long. It's going to be able to be wrapped around several times. So yeah, I'm really loving this. And I did do a provisional cast on here. So once the other side is done, it will get Kitchenered together. I think that's all I have to say about that. Oh, I will tell you this because I never ever tell you because most of my stuff I don't keep in project bags, but this is a Mrs. Brown's Bags by Jody of the Grocery Girl. So we had a Tracy sock and we have a Jody bag. All right, I have one last work in progress, which I just cast on last night. Try and do this without having yarn fly across the room. These are another Christmas gift. I'm trying to be on the ball this year, although I'm getting easily sidetracked. So, this is the Morning Coffee Sock Pattern by Kay of the Crazy Sock Lady podcast. And I'm really liking it. It's hard to see in this yarn, which is Patton's Croy Cadet colors, but it is a somewhat ribbed pattern. Oops. And it's a 6-row repeating pattern. Super memorizable. Like, I think I did it one time through and already knew it. So that's really nice. The one part I didn't like was the 1x1 twisted rib. It just took longer than I wanted it to. So again, I'm doing these 2 at a time, but on 9-inch circulars. So they are exactly at the same spot, which is I've done 5 pattern repeats so far on each sock. And these are for big man feet, not Glenn. So they're going to take a while. Let's see. Now I'm going to talk about future plans for knitting. So I talked to you about this project that I really want to do, but that's probably not going to start until January. There's going to be some crinkling, so sorry.
The next project that I have on my to-do list that is not a gift knit is the Adventurous Wrap, I believe it's called. I can't remember the name of the designer, but I already have a project page set up if you go into my Ravelry projects. However, I don't actually have a picture yet. But I recently got a bunch of minis from Tiny Human Knits, Laura. I pretty much got every color she had available in her shop. She was having a sale on them. And so these are each 20 grams. I have 11 of them. So 260 grams of yarn. I can't remember how much the Adventurous Wrap takes, but I do have kind of an advent calendar coming for Christmas. I say kind of because I don't think it's going to be like super fancy or anything, but months ago I signed up for the 5-gram mini Christmas sock yarn swappers, which is supposed to be mailed out, I think, by the 15th of this month. I'm super excited to see. And I think they all come individually wrapped. I don't know if they're going to have numbers. I really don't know much about it. I think they did one last year. I don't remember hearing about it at all. And I've been part of that group for a long time. But we'll see when it gets here, I guess. But my plan is, since these are all pretty darn neutral, I'm going to start the pattern with these and then pop in a mini every time, you know, it's that day. So my plan is I would like to stay, you know, current with the, you know, the mini each day, but I don't know if that's going to happen because I'm stressing myself out this Christmas, I guess, which so far I don't feel super stressed out about it, but I'm trying to knit. Let's see, I have like 4 more hats, at least 4 more hats, more that I can knit, but 4 that I have to get done for Christmas. That pair of socks I just showed you and another pair of socks is what I want to knit for Christmas. We'll see, I don't know. So yeah, anyway, these are absolutely beautiful. I love, love, love them. And I am not normally a neutrals girl, and I'm trying to change that because I need some neutrals in my life so that I can mix things together better. Okay, so I think we're done with knitting. Now we're going to go on to something really exciting. You guys, I went to the Oregon Flock and Fiber Festival. I can't even remember now what month that was, maybe September. And I took a all-day spinning class, which I had been wanting to learn to spin, like really learn to spin, not just on a drop spindle. I'd been wanting to do that, and then I really had it in the back of my mind, I wanted a wheel. So I wanted to try it before I actually bought one. So our instructor gave us some BFL, which was like, I think 75 white and 25 gray or something like that. And we did our singles and then we plied it. And during the class, I used a Ashford, I don't remember what kind of wheel it was. It was a single treadle, pretty small. And I did not love the single treadle. And I kept having a problem with the wheel that I used. Now, granted, these are all just, they are owned by Oregon Flock and Fiber, so they're used like once a year, and they're not super well maintained. So I had a problem with trying to keep the wheel going continuously, because a lot of times it would happen is it almost reached the top, and I'd push my foot down, so it'd start going backwards because it wouldn't get to that top point to have my foot come down. But I still did really well. Everyone was very impressed by my yarn that I made. And let me tell you, oh, it smells so good. I haven't washed this yet to actually set the twist. I need to do that, but I don't have any plans on what I'm going to do with this. So for not being washed, I mean, you see that? It's like, not to toot my own horn, but that's like perfect twist. If you have too much twist, it will kind of go like this in the skein. So you can see, I guess it has maybe a little too much, but it's, for my first spin, it's really good. So our class was supposed to go till 5 and the marketplace closed at 5. But Glenn and I had gotten a hotel room because it's in Canby, Oregon, which
can't remember how many hours it took us to drive there. Maybe 2.5, something like that. So I had finished my yarn already, and the instructor said if we wanted to go shop or something, she wasn't going to be upset. Which I will tell you, the instructor I had was Sari Peterson. I think that's correct. I know it's Sari. I might be wrong. Sari. Might be wrong about the last name, but I'm pretty sure that is correct. And I'd never heard of her before, but I think she's kind of a big deal, at least around here, Pacific Northwest area. She was so good. I really, really like her. So anyway, yeah, this is amazing. So I went out and, I'm totally blanking on the name of the shop. There is a shop that they're actually in the San Francisco area. So I was really shocked that they came to Oregon Flock and Fiber because it was the exact same time that they were having Vogue Knitting Live in San Francisco. But I guess the shop comes to, I wish I could remember the name of it, you guys. They come to the Oregon Flock and Fiber like every year. So I made a beeline for their shop. I knew exactly where it was. I'd had recommendations that was a place to buy a wheel from like everybody. So I went and saw the lady that was running it, and she sat me down at a wheel, gave me some fiber. I got going. Like, I've already been spinning all day, but now I'm spinning on a Lendrum, a double treadle. And so again, that wheel had been recommended to me by several people. I had never tried one. So here I am trying it, and I just was instantly hooked. It was super easy to spin on. Everything seemed very straightforward. The design is very compact. And I guess, I don't know if they consider it kind of more modern style wheel. It definitely doesn't look like your Cinderella type wheel. But yeah, without a doubt, I was like, okay, sign me up. And I got the last wheel, the last Lendrum that they had there. Apparently those are kind of hard to come by. So I did get the Lendrum complete package, which, don't ask me to tell you what all it came with. It came with a lot of stuff. It comes with like a very fast flyer, but so far I've only been using the regular one. So, guys, check this out. I don't know if you can tell how thinly that is spun, but my goal is to be able to spin a 3-ply sock weight yarn, so fingering weight yarn. That is my end goal. Like, when I'm a master spinner, that is what I want to be able to do. So I'm trying to just do thin. I'm getting way better at it, although I'm telling you, I actually, now that I'm looking at this and my wheel, I haven't touched it really since I started texture time, because that just took up so much of my time. And now I have Christmas knitting, but I think when I'm done here, I'm going to be doing some spinning because I love it. So let me just show you what the fiber looks like. This is all I have left to spin to complete this braid. So it's 4 ounces. It's Targhee, which I'd never used before. And it is soft and squishy and beautiful. And I would say it spins up pretty well. I got this actually from a Facebook group, which I'm totally not remembering the name of. But there is a lady named Arlene. You may already be a member of that group if Arlene sounds familiar to you, because I don't think that's a super common name. Anyway, Arlene lives up in Washington, and every now and then she posts braids that she has for sale, and it seems like a very reasonable price. And so yeah, isn't it crazy how it looks like in here versus how it looks spun up? I mean, I'm just shocked. I don't know. I love when I get to the pink sections. I love when some of the cream fiber gets twisted in with something else. Like, I don't know. I cannot wait. I have a little bit more spun up on a bobbin on my wheel, and I cannot wait to ply this together. I'm just going to, I think, I don't even know the right term, but double ply. I'm just going to use 2 plies to ply it together. I don't think I'm going to go for a chain ply or anything like that, which, by the way, I did try a chain ply on some of my practice fiber, and it was not hard at all. Like, I think I could have done better, but for my first time trying it, it wasn't bad. So anyway, when this is done, I would love to, hopefully it's a fingering-ish weight, because right now it's like super fine. It's
beyond lace weight, if that makes sense. But I want to get enough to do a shawl. And I know the, is it Night Shift or something like that by Andrea Mowry? She has one, but hers is with worsted. And to be honest, I don't have a lot of, like drive to spin worsted. So I don't know if I ever will, if I ever learn, but I don't know. I think that's going to be super hard for me because my goal has always been to go thin. So I don't know if I can go big or go home, so to speak. But yeah, let's see. Oh, I do have, so I have a lot of acquisitions other than my wheel. I was very good at organ flock and fiber. I did not buy any yarn, but I bought a ton of fiber, which now I'm like, that's going to be more than like a year of spinning at the rate I'm going because I've been knitting so much. So basically I just need 2 of me so that one person can spin and one can knit and everything will be good. But I'm going to show you 2 acquisitions I actually just got yesterday because they're from my friend Tammy's shop, Candy Skein. She just had her soft opening yesterday in Astoria. So you guys have probably heard of Candy Skein before. She has absolutely beautiful yarns, and I'm lucky enough that she decided to move here and I get to knit with her and hang out with her, and you know, now I get to shop in her store. So I'm super pumped about it. But let me just show you what I could not resist yesterday. So this is I'd say much more yellow. It looks like that, but it's getting blown out when it gets close to the camera. It's not like natural or undyed. It's definitely a lemon curd yellow, like lemon, I don't know. It's just so beautiful. And then it's got purple and pink speckles. So for me, this is very toned down, believe it or not. And she told me this is just one of her test kitchen skeins, she calls it, when she's trying out a color but doesn't go with it or whatever. And it was so funny. She says, I am so happy that you grabbed this because she has enough yarn of this color at home to knit a sweater for her. And apparently this skein of yarn has been to show after show after show, and no one has picked it up. So leave it to me. I'm in love with this skein. And it's so funny. She didn't tell me any of this until I had it on the counter to buy. This is her Luscious fingering, which, ooh la la, it's 80-10-10. It's got cashmere in there. It's super soft. Do you also notice, like, it's not an exact match, but they're kind of close. And then the other one I got, because this seems to be the color of the year, is in her Yummy fingering, and it's a color called Honey. And it is beautiful. I actually kind of thought for a second maybe I would do the honey hat. I can't remember who designed that. Maybe Andrea Mowry. That sounds right. But this is fingering. This is not DK or worsted. So my plan, which will probably change, is that these are going to be Clark socks because I've been wanting to do the Clark socks for the longest time, but it really does need like a tonal or a solid, which my stash does not have a lot of. I have some pretty crazy yarns. So all right, now we're going to segue into stash. So, as I said, I have acquired a lot, like way too much, recently. And I don't know why. Like, sometimes I feel out of control. I was going to say I don't feel out of control, but I keep thinking, you know, I don't have yarn to knit this certain sweater, so I order yarn for that sweater, but then I have, you know, this or something else taking up all my knitting time, so that sweater doesn't get cast on, so the yarn just sits there. And I have way too much yarn right now. I know that's probably not something that's normal to come out of a knitter's mouth, but I love it all. You know, I see a lot of people destashing. I don't want to destash. I love it. I love every single skein, especially, you know, some of those indie dyed skeins that I've gotten. Either the dyers aren't dyeing anymore or that color isn't made anymore. I mean, they're all like special to me and I want them all, and I want them all to be something. The problem is that I do pick these crazy colored skeins and it's hard to match them with something else. So that's often why I will go buy something else because I feel it's better suited. But that's going to change because
my stash cannot continue to grow at the rate that it's growing without more things going out. And the speed that things are going out just doesn't seem to be nearly as fast as it used to be. I know I've mentioned this before, but I'm working 5 days a week, sometimes more. And it just seems like I don't have as much knitting time as I have had, which is crazy because I'm pretty much knitting anytime that I'm not working. So I'm still, I'm still doing a lot. I just don't feel like it's as much. When I worked a 12-hour day, I would have more days off, and I'm not gonna lie, those days that I had off were kind of just knitting. And so now I have just, an hour or two here, and not so much. So the other thing that I have been doing since September is I'm doing a meal prep called Prep Dish. And that requires, shopping, of course. Excuse me. And doing meal prep. So I do my meal prep on Sunday, usually while Glenn is at work, because he always has to go into work to get his lesson plans ready. So that is time when I used to podcast. And I've had it in my mind that I'll podcast a short little clip after I get home. Or, I'll merge a bunch of clips together, and I just don't do it. When I get home, I'm wearing my business clothes from work, and I walk in the door, and the first thing I do is go put my pajamas on, because, what's the point in getting dressed again? Because I'm just going to be at home. So I don't think you guys want me podcasting in my pajamas. I mean, not that I get too dressed up, but it's better than pajamas. So it's just been hard to find time. I know I've jumped on Instagram Live a couple of times. A couple of you have seen that, but I don't do it on like a daily basis or anything. So I don't really know what the podcast solution is. But a huge reason that I hadn't podcasted before now is that I really didn't have anything to show. I finished those socks this week. I mean, I don't remember how many days ago, but just a few days. I finished, this literally just got done blocking yesterday. So yeah, I haven't had a ton to show you guys, and that just feels, I mean, I could have showed this as it was going, but it was a mystery cowl, so I would have had to have a big, my entire podcast is all a mystery spoiler, so that just didn't seem appropriate either. So I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to focus on knitting out of my stash, which I think means some things are going to be a little interesting. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I know that my stash just needs to get knit. The other thing is, I really feel like I would like to focus on like one large project, so a shawl, a sweater, anything on the larger side, and like one small project, which I still have a lot of projects on the needles that need to eventually get done or frogged or whatever. But from here on out, I'm going to try to avoid casting on recklessly, because it's very, very tempting. But then stuff just sits there undone, and what's the purpose of that? I definitely think I'm becoming more of a process knitter, just because I do enjoy the process. I enjoy the knitting, and yeah, it's not always, I mean, I want the project, but I think the process is more, especially like when it came to this, just learning all the techniques. I had to rip out the beginning of this brioche section like 4 times till I got smart enough to put a lifeline in, and I didn't stop, so I mean, I don't know what I am. Anyway, this is quite a long chat that we've had. I appreciate you guys checking it out, even though it's been a while. Hopefully that was a nice little update for you. All those things that I have acquired, I will be sure to show you as I'm using them. And I cannot wait to show you guys my adventurous wrap. I haven't decided if I will be vlogging every day. If I do, it will probably just to be a little update about that, what I did that day. Because quite honestly, when you're working 5 days a week, and I'm not a big going out person, I'm very much a homebody, there's not that much interesting that goes on. I don't think I have enough to really do a vlog every day, but maybe an adventurous wrap update. So if any of you guys are doing that, I'd love to hear what your plans are. Yeah, anyway, thanks guys. I will talk to you when I talk to you. Bye.